Welcome to Experience VCC. My name is Carolyn Hornell, and I am the Associate Director of Alumni Relations for the VCC Foundation. Today, we are here to talk about transportation trades. We are going to hear today from auto collision and repair, auto service technician, and heavy mechanical trades. So those are our three transportation trades. We're going to start with Keith Mew, who is the department head for auto collision and refinishing. Please take it away, Keith.
Thanks, Carolyn. I am the department leader of the auto collision and refinishing department, and I'd just like to start off and explain a little bit about what our trade actually is. When you think about bringing your car into a body shop and having some damage repaired, our trade is broken up into two different sections. Part of it being auto collision, the other part being auto refinishing. What you could basically say is fixing the damage, fixing the dents, changing parts, and then refinishing is the painting part of it, the painting side, reapplying corrosion protection, matching paint color. Our trade tends to be a little bit artistic in nature. A lot of people who do well in our trade have a background in some sort of art. When you look at what some of the repair processes are, especially in auto collision and being an auto collision technician, sometimes you're applying repair materials and you're literally sculpting them to the shape and the contour that the vehicle is. When you get into the refinishing side, we're dealing with a lot of colors. A huge part of painting a vehicle is matching to the existing color that there is, and having a painter's eye or someone who does any sort of watercolor, oil painting models, you tend to take really well to this side of the trade as well. We have a foundation program where you can come with no prior knowledge of the trade at all. You don't even really need to have any experience using tools. And we can teach you everything from the ground up. We can teach you all about safety, tools and equipment, and then we start getting into the different steps of repair. We teach you about welding, oxyacetylene and MIG welding. We get into plastic repairs, full removal and installing of all various different types of body pieces and parts on the car, as well as diagnosing and fixing damage. And that is really the auto collision side of our trade. Our foundation program does both collision and refinishing. So kind of later on in your program, you get into the refinishing side, and then you start to recoat those repairs that you have done previously. So some people have heard of a product called Bondo. The real proper name for it is called plastic repair material or body filler. And you may be applying that, sanding it and sculpting it to the shape. Well, now it's time to put some primer on it. It's time to kind of smooth it out and then apply some base coat and some clear coat so it matches and blends into the rest of the vehicle. By the time that we're done with a collision repair and a damaged vehicle, our work on the car is almost invisible. It looks like we were never there. It looks like that vehicle has never been in an accident. And that is really the gratifying part of auto collision and refinishing. I myself am a painter. I am an alumni of the foundation programs at VCC. And my background in automotive refinishing has led me into some different industries. I was able to transition into aircraft and paid helicopters for 3 years seamlessly, just based on my experience being a painter. So, you know, not only is this a fantastic, fun trade to get into, able to get a job and secure employment fairly easily, but I was able to transition out of auto collision, and the techniques, the experience that I gained in this program was applied, in aviation. You can apply this to different areas of construction, and really anywhere where you're going to be coating something fabricated, piece of construction, you could use some of these tools and some of these techniques. Right now in our industry, we're really having a shortage of technicians. And so every shop that I've talked to and every shop that reaches out to me in kind of recently has been looking for a really good tech, either a body tech or a refinisher. So there's lots of job availability at the moment. And I think what you'll find is it's just going to get better. A lot of the technicians are starting to age out of the trade. They're in their late 50s, and we need kind of a more steady flow of younger, skilled technicians coming out of training and getting into apprenticeship. The other really exciting part about auto collision is it is becoming one of the 10 compulsory trades where if you are to work as an auto collision technician, you must be some sort of certified or registered as an apprentice. So you can be in any level of apprenticeship, 1, 2, 3, or 4, or you could be a red seal. But you must have that training, you must have that certification in order to perform this type of work. And that'll be starting next June, I believe.
Can you explain the education cycle for from start through apprenticeship, and what does Red Seal mean?
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks, Carolyn. So we have two ways that we can get into this trade and start an apprenticeship in auto collision as well as auto refinishing. You can do what I say most people do is take a foundation program. So at VCC, we offer a 35-week foundation program that covers both first levels of auto collision as well as auto refinishing. Basically, you come here for 35 weeks. Like I mentioned, you have no prior knowledge of the trade. And we teach you everything. We teach you safety, how to use the equipment, how to set up the booth, all about auto collision, all about auto refinishing. And at the end of that, the ITA, which is the industry training authority, will come down to the college, come to your classroom, and they will invigilate an exam for you to take. If you pass that exam and you pass our course, you are now considered past level 1. You are now injected into an apprenticeship as a level 2. With auto collision, there's 4 levels. So basically, you would go and work for a year, and you come back, you take a course of 5 weeks, take another level exam, and then you go back and you work again for another year, and you do that 4 times, achieving the next level of apprenticeship. Once you have reached that 4th year and that 4th level of apprenticeship in auto collision, and you take that final exam, you then become fully certified. You are a journey person, and you will receive your red seal if you successfully pass that exam. Refinishing is a little bit quicker. We only have 2 levels. So if you wanted to be a painter, all you would have to do is come take our foundation program, go work for a year, come back, take our level 2 course, pass the ITA exam, and then you would receive your red seal for painting. So for painting, what you see is it is a 2-year apprenticeship or a 2-level apprenticeship. Auto collision is a 4-year. There's more information. You're doing a lot more structural work in auto collision, and so there's more information, more levels, and a longer duration of apprenticeship. And that's really how a majority of people will get into the trade. To become an apprentice, a couple things you have to take care of. You do want to connect with the ITA. And if maybe someone in the chat, Liz, you can put in itabc.ca. So if people are interested, they can just visit the website, and they'll be able to find all of the auto trades program profiles through that website. And you need a shop. You have to get employment. You get a shop that sponsors you as an apprentice. And then essentially you're on your journey to in your apprenticeship and to trying to achieve your red seal.
Thanks, Keith. And that red seal that is given out by the ITA is recognized across Canada.
Yes, it's interprovincial. Well,
yeah.
It's interprovincial. It is acknowledged all over Canada except Quebec. But even in places where they don't have any sort of standard certification for their technicians, like in the US, having that, backed up by your country of certified and a journey person in your trade is also very valuable if you're looking to move around and gain employment in this trade and somewhere else in the world.
Yeah, it is the highest standard. It is great. Okay, thank you so much, Keith. If you have questions about auto collision and refinishing, please do ask them in the chat. We are going to move on to Greg Henderson, who is the department head for auto service technician. Greg, if you would unmute, please.
Unmuted.
There you go.
How are you guys doing? There is a lot of sort of similarity between the trades that we're all going to be talking about here as far as the apprenticeship works. So I probably won't talk too much about how you get involved with an apprenticeship, just due to the fact that it's exactly the same as what Keith just said. Getting a sponsor, the ITA, all that stuff. So I won't reiterate all of that stuff. As Keith said, there's a number of trades that are going compulsory in British Columbia. One of them being our trade as well, automotive service technician. And that's a positive. It's going to be better for the industry all around as far as keeping everybody on an even keel as far as their training goes, as far as how well we're trained. There'll be basically people coming in and policing the trades, which is a good thing, because right now there is no compulsory component to becoming an auto refinisher, a service technician, an electrician, a plumber, or any of those other compulsory trades, or non-compulsory trades at this point, but are going to go compulsory. Our trade, of course, is slightly different than Keith's, although there is some overlap in there as well. We do some collision repair, usually suspension parts and components like that. And then we eventually send that vehicle off back to a body shop if ICBC has had a repair taken place. So there is a little bit of overlap between our trades. But generally, our trade involves things like wheels and tires and car maintenance, transmission work, engine work, electrical work. Of course, now we're getting into things like alternative fuel vehicles, whether that be a hybrid gasoline electric vehicle or a straight plug-in vehicle, or even things like hydrogen powered vehicles. So our trade has become very, very vast. We used to be called mechanics. Now we're called technicians, and that's for a good reason. You have to be extremely intelligent to do our trade now. It's not like even when I started the trade, and I'm 56 years old now, and I started when I was about 17. It was a very basic trade when I got in, and now it's an extremely taxing trade on the fact that you have to be updated on almost everything you do on a monthly basis. It's a lot like computers. They're changing every week, or anything that's tech-based. So like I say, our programs that work very similar to Keith's as far as we have apprenticeship courses, we have foundation courses, we have international courses, and we have that international diploma course, which is a 2-year course. Just trying to think of what would be the ideal person to be in this trade. Would be somebody that's really tactile, hands-on, probably less artsy than your collision side of things, more of a hands-on, more tactile, get greasy a bit at times and dirty, and sometimes having to muscle components and parts. I would have to say a big problem solver would be a good candidate for our trade, as well as being able to work in a team environment, because it's not a trade that works well if you're just a completely independent person and want to work on your own. There's too much knowledge base that gets brought down from a mentor to an apprentice. So you have to work well with others. And one of the biggest skill sets we're seeing in our trade right now, of course, is the electrical side of things. Everything's moving towards electrical based components within the vehicle, whether that be powering the vehicle to get from point A to point B, to things that operate even the steering in a car. We have electric steering now, we have electric brakes, we have electric, pretty much everything. And it's all to save on fuel economy, or to work from either a battery pack or in conjunction with an electric or gasoline engine. So we're really seeing a big push towards electrical side of things. Even with air conditioning, our air conditioning systems are all electrically powered compressors and everything now. So you have to be much more in tune to the academic side the mathematical side to get into this trade. It used to be that you didn't really have to have a whole lot of mathematical based training in your background, but it's very helpful nowadays for sure, because there's a lot of things that we have to consider when we're doing our trade now, as far as calculations and predictions that are based quite often around math and things like that.
So Greg, can you answer a question for me?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
In the picture that's up in the top right, there's a pickup truck that's lifted and there's a giant flat screen TV, and I'm guessing that's not for watching football games between.
No.
What's that for?
What you're seeing there is that truck is on what we call an alignment rack. And let's say a car does get in an accident. Typically, we align vehicles after a vehicle has maybe hit a curb or been in a car accident, and the steering now doesn't offer the vehicle go down the road straight or something like that. So what we do is we put it on a rack like that, which is a scissor rack that lifts the vehicle up. We put some what they call heads on the wheels, and it basically tells us whether or not that vehicle is going to go down the road straight. And if it tells us that that vehicle isn't going to go down the road straight, we can do some adjustments within the suspension, and we can illuminate those up on that Apple TV that you see there in the background. And we can even have the ability to have on our smartphone the instructor instructing an adjustment underneath the vehicle, and put that up on the big screen so that all the other students can see what's actually happening with the alignment angles or any of the components that may have an issue with them. So that's what you're seeing in that. And in fact, in the bottom right screen, you'll see what I call the heads for that alignment rack. You'll see the thing that looks like a bunch of little dots in a black. Yes, that's it. So those are attached to each wheel, and it basically projects to a camera that says, okay, are the wheels straight? Are they going to allow this vehicle to go down the road without scrubbing the tires off, or getting the best fuel economy you can? So that's what you're seeing there. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. You guys have some pretty great technology down there in the shop.
Yeah, very cool stuff in all three of our departments, that's for sure. And again, we've been doing this training since 1949. So it's it wasn't called VCC back in those days, but directly or indirectly, it's still VCC, and that's a long time to do that training. That's over 70 years. So yeah.
Well, and I'm thrilled to say that you have kept up with the technology as we go.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Greg. I think we're going to move along to Alan, who is the department head for heavy mechanical trades. Alan, you're up.
How are you? My name is Alan Kelly, and I'm the acting department head for heavy mechanical trades. As Greg and Keith talked about, we have the apprenticeship, which is kind of the same. We offer a foundation program right now, and with our trade through ITA, we actually have split up into heavy duty, commercial transport, trailer mechanic, or just engine mechanic. So we have lots of options. We have our apprenticeship, which runs first, second, and third year the same for heavy mechanical as in equipment, and for commercial transport, which is trucks. But then when we move into fourth year, it splits off into air brakes for commercial transport and hydraulics for equipment. The opportunities in our trade right now are immense. As Keith and Greg alluded to, is that we are so short of apprentices out in the field that employers are just screaming for them. The opportunities in our heavy duty or equipment mechanic is to work out in the field, which is the opportunity to work in camp up in north. It's very well paid. It's pretty heavy work, and unlike automotive, we do work out in the field quite a bit with that heavy duty, and you work on your own quite a bit sometimes. This is when you go into camp or when you actually get flown into somewhere to work. It's very interesting work. We work through all aspects of the vehicle, from drivetrains to engines. A lot of electronics now, as Greg said. Most of our equipment has up to 12 to 13 computers built in. And as you see in the picture there, our trade is pushing hard for females in the trade. Females offer a different perspective, as when we get into electronics, they're found to be very good at electronics. So if there's any females out there that would like to try this trade, there's a big opening right now. We deal with trucks, cars, mostly pickup trucks will be in the commercial side. We deal with trailers, and we deal with just engine rebuilding. We also do transmission rebuilding. We rebuild from front to back on the vehicles. When you look at our trade, it's a fabulous trade to be able to travel with. I was a Red Seal, and I came from Ireland with this trade. It gave me lots of opportunities, and there's tons of opportunities out there right now. So it's a trade for anybody who is tactile, but would like to try something that is a very rewarding trade. There's lots and lots of information, lots of learning. And like Greg said, is that it's a completely updating all the time. It's not like it used to be. We are renewing all the time, new electronics, new tools. A lot of our equipment, especially on our loaders, case equipment, it's becoming very electrical, which is driven by electronics. So a lot of operators are looking for what they call autonomous vehicles. So in the mines, on farms, they're looking for vehicles that will actually drive themselves, that are just completely computer-based driven, and they're all electrically actuated. So electricity, which is a lot of math and a lot of understanding, is a very, very complicated but very rewarding section of our trade, and very high paid, and also very clean to work on. It's one of the nicest parts of our trade. Again, it's the opportunities are huge, but we still do the same 4-year apprenticeship. As Keith was saying, we start off with first year or foundations. If you do a foundation program, you come in and we give you all basic aspects of all the vehicles, equipment, trucks, pickup trucks, trailers, and all the equipment inside them. And then you move on and get a job somewhere, and they start you off in an apprenticeship. And right now, talking to most of our employers, they would be interested in getting at least 2 to 3 apprentices right now that we need to get into the stream, so that in a year's time that they have them coming out. This job, as with automotive and with collision refinishing, these jobs are going to give you a good life of well-paid jobs that you will never be unemployed if you don't want to be. So if it's a job you're looking for to look after yourself for the rest of your life, these jobs are there for you and will always give back to you. The one thing I love about this job is handing the information down that we have onto our up-and-coming apprentices.
Alan, I can't agree with you more. My husband is a trailer mechanic. He worked for Clark Freightways there for years. He's now a service manager at Ocean Trailers. And exactly as you said, he cannot get employees fast enough. There just are not enough.
Yeah, we can't find employees.
Yeah.
We definitely can't find good employees.
Yeah.
The big thing is going to be, if you have a good attitude in any of these trades, employers are going to be willing to train you and put the time and the energy into training you, so that you can have a good life and you can have a good job that will look after your family or what your needs are. So anybody who's interested in any of these trades is to give it a try, sign up for it, and you will not regret it. These are fabulous trades. I've been in since I was 14. I'm not going to tell you how old I am now, but I've been in it a few years, and I have never been unemployed. I've always been needed as an employee, which is a great place to be.
It's certainly secure. You follow them on VCC Auto Body, Twitter and Instagram. Auto Collision and Refinishing particularly has a great social media presence. I wanted to talk just for a few minutes about services that are available for all students at Vancouver Community College. Advising services is for people who aren't sure which program they're wanting to take, and if they do know which program they want to take, what requirements they need in order to get in. So if you're struggling with, do I have the requirements? These are the things that I have in my background. What am I best suited for? Advising is probably where you want to go. We have a foundation at Vancouver Community College. Their entire job is to secure scholarships, awards, and bursaries for students. We also do a lot of equipment funding. Much of that equipment funding goes towards transportation trades. Our whole goal at VCC is to have students succeed. So if you are finding that you need some help financially, I would encourage you strongly to visit financial aid, vcc.ca/financial aid. There are a plethora of resources for you. We have a tremendously strong Indigenous services team who are there to support any Indigenous students. We do have a policy in which at least 2 spots are reserved in every program specifically for Indigenous students. So if you are Indigenous, there is a spot for you. Disability services is very strong at VCC. If you have any disabilities, cognitive, physical, otherwise, we are more than capable of making accommodations for you. So if you find you need more time for tests or you need a quiet room, whatever it is that you need, please visit Disability Services. Again, their whole goal is to ensure that you succeed as a student. If you're finding everything just a little bit overwhelming or you need help dealing with some confrontation or anything of that nature, counseling services is a great place to visit. All of these services are free of charge for VCC students. And one of the most amazing things is the free professional tutoring that is available at both campuses, people that are in your field and willing to help you study in your field of choice. So what's your next step? Attend an information session. Check, you've just done that. So next is to meet with an advisor. Please feel free to stop by on campus. They're more than happy to meet with you. And then you can go ahead and apply, register at vcc.ca/apply. So I'd like to thank you for participating today in our Experience VCC Transportation Trades program. I'd like to thank all of our presenters, Keith Mew, Greg Henderson, Alan Kelly. Thanks to Liz for helping out in the chat. Jana has been our international advisor today. If you have any other questions, please contact the department heads directly. I believe you should have all of their information. So thanks again for visiting us today. We hope to see you on campus soon. Thanks.